Hey guys, welcome to the SimRacingPaddock. I'm William Marsh, and in this video I am going to be talking about what is in front of me right now, and that is my Alienware 34-inch ultra-wide monitor. So last year, Black Friday, I decided to make this purchase. I bought this 34-inch ultra-wide high refresh rate monitor for roughly $700. And I wanted to talk about my experiences with the monitor, what I like, what I don't like, and also why I am actually going to be going back to triple screens. So I decided to go from my old AOC brand 27-inch 1080p 60Hz monitors up to this single Alienware ultra wide monitor. And my main thoughts were, I never had experience with a high refresh rate monitor, and I never really got to use an ultrawide before. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to test out the monitor and see what I like. And honestly, there is a lot to like. This monitor is a very impressive piece of kit, and it really does offer some features that create a more immersive sim racing experience without some of the pitfalls that might come with triple screens. So the biggest ease that I see that comes from from an ultra-wide monitor is simply the simplicity of setting it up. The monitor is dead simple to set up in comparison to triple screens. So triple screens, you have the benefit of a wide field of view. That wide field of view means that you get a more immersive view, you see more of the car and more around you, which is great for racing wheel to wheel and things like that. The downside is that triple screen monitors can be finicky. There's different angles you can set it up in, and you need to have software to compensate for that, or else you might get distorted views. So there's that to put into consideration. And then also add in, some sim racing titles do not have true triple screen support. Now, you'll likely in the comments of this video and other videos hear a lot of people talking about true triple screen support. I wanted to take a minute to describe what exactly that means. So for a setup that includes 3 1080p monitors, you get a 5760 by 1080 image. And you get that across the 3 screens, but usually in a true triple screen supported title, that would be 3 1080p images rendered separately, and then you can have compensation for that, and you can get your view fine-tuned to what you need. Some titles, most namely Codemasters racing titles and ports from console games to PC, they do not have true triple screen support. What they'll do is they will take one single 5760 by 1080 image and they will stretch that across all 3 screens. And you can adjust field of view to try to match what's going on and try to get some decent representation. And if you have the monitor set up right, you can get a decent view. But it's not as good as having a true multi-view rendered experience. So that is a major negative for triple screens in some racing titles. Now, the majority of the big sim racing titles on PC will easily support triple screens. iRacing, rFactor 2, Assetto Corsa, Project Cars, so on. But some of the titles like Codemasters F1 won't. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now, those titles usually will support ultra-wide resolutions though. Ultra-wide is similar to implement because you only have one viewpoint. You don't have monitors at an angle to compensate for. So that's one thing to consider, and it's much easier to set up a single ultra-wide. Now, you do lose out on the wider field of view, but that might be a sacrifice people are willing to make, especially now that there are up to 49-inch ultra-wide 32:9 aspect ratio available on the market now. But with a 21:9, you get enough to get more of a view but I'd say it's not enough to get that true immersion. So that's a negative in the point of an Alienware Ultrawide. Or, I keep on saying Alienware Ultrawide, I mean 21 by 9 Ultrawides in general. So this is where I'm going to start getting to my point of why I'm actually going to be switching back to triple screens. And just bear in mind, this is for my personal preference and my requirements. For people who do like their ultra-wide and everything, that's great. Ultra-wides are awesome. I love mine, but for my needs, my purposes, it's getting to a point where for triple screens, that is more practical for me. For myself personally, triple screens were more practical for me live streaming and just having my game on the center monitor, have my stream analytics on the left and right screens. That's just more practical for me. For having the ultra wide, it takes more system horsepower for live streaming, and also I lose out on the extra windows for my productivity. And then also, I do have one 24-inch screen on my right, but that's just not nearly as efficient and well for me when I am working. And I just feel like going back to some decent triple screens would work well for me. So there's that. And then, I mentioned the resolution of a ultra wide, it doesn't make for great content for the YouTuber. It doesn't make for great use while streaming. So, for example, this is 3440 by 1440. This is a 1440p ultra wide. Now, for most people's screens, cell phones, for TVs, for computer screens, those are 16 by 9. A 21 by 9 screen looks letterboxed, and when I'm doing live streams with the ultra wide, it does come with that trade-off where it's not as good. So that's another reason why I'm looking to change things up, go back, so when I can capture 1080p footage, it looks better for you guys and it's more convenient for my workflow. So my main thoughts are that I'm going to be transferring this ultra-wide screen down to one of my more personal setups. I'm going to still definitely be using it. I am having a blast with it. I enjoy it and I want to experience more of it, but for the sim racing content producer that I am, I just can't really justify having this on my main rig, creating content for you guys and things like that. So while an ultra wide can be good for a sim racer, the trade-offs are a little tough. So for the sim racer's perspective, why would you go with an ultra wide? Well, it's more convenient than triples. It's a little more space saving. You still get a wider field of view than what you would get from, say, a single 1080p screen. Or a 16 by 9 screen, I should say. And you could theoretically go with a 32 by 9 screen. A 32 by 9 screen would give you an even wider field of view. Not as wide as a triple, but you'd still get an extremely wide field of view. And you would get that slightly more immersion factor, and that would be great for a lot of people. But the trade-off with that is you do get the slightly negative effect of not getting a wider wraparound view. And you do have that to keep in mind. If you're wanting a more immersive view, then triples are the way to go. Triples give you a field of view that is just miles beyond what you can get on an ultra wide. Because right now, look at my field of view. you can see a little bit out my left door, but not much that would be practical in a racing environment. You can't see anything out of my right, so if I get wheel to wheel with these guys in the next lap, I won't get to see out the sides of my cars and judge where they are. That is quite a downside. With triple screens, you get that extra field of view. You get that extra viewing space that you would be able to get to take a look and see where your opponents are, and that could be a real advantage. And I know I haven't really talked about the refresh rate. The refresh rate, the 120 hertz that I get on this Alienware Ultrawide is awesome. I'm gonna save that discussion for a future video though, because the triple screens I'm going to be replacing with, on this rig, are 144 hertz IPS displays. So I'm gonna get an extra 24 hertz, and I want to kind of save that discussion until I get some time testing that, so I could do a comparison. The 60 hertz of a standard monitor versus the 90 hertz of an Oculus Rift CV1 versus the 100/120 hertz that you get on an Alienware versus the 144 on my new LG monitors. So I think that will be an interesting video to test out and just talk about the effects and what I experience. So yeah, guys, that is basically what I'm going to be planning. But yeah, jumping from this ultra wide to a triple screen setup, I feel like that is the best thing I can do for myself. That is for me, and for different people, they'll prefer different things. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Are you racing with ultrawides? Are you racing with triples? Or are you still using like a 16:9 standard display? I would love to hear what you are using on your sim racing setup in your rig. So thanks for watching, guys. For the Sim Racing Paddock, I'm William Marsh, and I'm going to shut up and let you watch this last lap.